Hey, what's going on, guys? So, yeah, right. Another day. Right. 7-4. 7-4, 10-4, Roger that out. Yeah, so good morning. It is hump day today. Welcome to the Mokeba show. It is almost November, people. It's almost November. Almost Halloween, too. Almost Halloween. We got not too far. Not too long. I was watching scary movies yesterday, and it was pretty crazy. Yeah, I was watching what was it? Gosh, Horror Tales, or it was like Little Tales. It was like little in between, or it was like little small shows about Halloween. It said it was it was critically acclaimed. It was like 4 stars. It was on Prime. But it was really good. Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, they had a lot of shows on there, and they're pretty scary. Like, all of them were pretty good. And they weren't really scary movies, though, to where they really were like, okay, you were afraid to watch them by yourself or in the dark, but like some were decent. Like, because I don't like to watch some really scary ones in the dark, like, because that's something that's not something that I've always been into, because like I don't know, like I just been just like not really scared, but just somewhat scared, because like I don't know why, but I could never watch scary movies by myself. Like, it was just never a thing. Like, I was always like needed to be with someone or around people, and like, so yeah, it's just never been one of them things. But yeah, we got Halloween coming up, and then we got the election coming up. We do have the election because everyone needs to get out and vote, because it's important that you stand up for what you believe in, because if you stand up for what you believe in, then you're fighting for what you believe in. Because if you don't go out and vote, that means you can't be completely satisfied and content with how everything is. So you want changes. You want our world to get better and stuff like that. So you want changes and stuff. So you need to go out and vote to express your opinion, express your belief, and express what you stand up and believe for, because that's important. Less than half of our country went out and voted in the 2016 election and other elections. Yes, the last election, 2016 election with Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, there was less than 165 million, I think it's half. There was only like 130 million, something like that, went out and voted. I don't know the exact number, but I know it was only a little over 100 million, and our entire country population is 330 million. So that means if there's 330 million people, then half is 150, 165 about, and so 130 is less than half. And that's just horrible that less than half of our country went out and voted. Like, they did. Less than half of our country stood up for what they believed in, and that's just not right. You got to get out there and vote. No matter if I don't see, I care about who you vote for, but I at least you're voting, even if it's for the opposing side, because the opposing side always has certain aspects that everyone believes in. Everyone has certain things they also believe in. That's why there's independence. That's why, because people believe in certain things on each side. And how I started to come up with a way to decide who I vote for was actually in the last election, 2016 election, because I liked Donald Trump going into it. I liked that he wasn't a politician, and I liked that he was a businessman, and that's what we needed. I felt like we needed a business person. But I heard certain things that were really negative about him, as well as that were actually factual things that I heard that were right out of his own mouth that were very negative, womanizing negative, and bad for the country negative. And so, and for Hillary, I didn't have anything that I liked about her. I didn't know anything about her really. I knew she was Bill Clinton's wife, and Bill Clinton was a good president, but I didn't know anything about her. I only knew one negative thing about her, actually, which was alleged Benghazi stories. And alleged negative Benghazi stories, I should say. And so what I decided to do is I thought about how I could come up with a way to decide who I wanted to vote for. So what I decided is, well, I'm going to find the facts on both candidates. So what I did is I created a factual pros and factual cons list for each president, each candidate. And so then I wrote down the factual pros for Hillary and then the factual cons on one paper. I put Hillary at the top, and I went down and I didn't write nothing down that wasn't factual. So I wrote down all the factual pros and all the factual cons, and then keep that on one page. Then go to the next candidate, write down all the factual pros and all the factual cons, and then compare it, put it on one paper. And that's how I decided the last election who I was going to vote for. And after I did that, that's when I was disgusted with Trump, and I had decided to vote for Hillary. And but yeah, and so that's what I did is I wrote down factual pros and factual cons for each president on each sheet of paper. Factual for Hillary's past, factual good things, and then present, and then factual cons, past, and then factual future cons that were bad. And then same with Trump. Did factual pros on the past and present. And so yeah, like I said, I went into 16. Love it. I liked Trump. That's who I was gonna vote for. I liked him because he wasn't a politician and he was a businessman, and I felt like that's what we needed. And then I had heard bad negative things about him that were right out of his own mouth. Womanizing things, bad policy things, just multiple things. And that's when I decided, to do a factual check on everything. What made me really do it is I didn't know anything on Hillary. I didn't have anything that made me like her. The only thing I liked about her is that she was Bill Clinton's husband, and Bill Clinton was a great president. I loved Bill Clinton as a president. A lot of our country did. And the only reason he was even impeached was a personal affair. So I didn't have anything on her that I liked, that I knew about. And then the only thing I had on her negative was I had one negative thing, which was alleged Benghazi stories, and which she later got dismissed of. And so that's what made me talk or look up things and make that list, decide how I was going to make it, or decide my president. And then this election, for the last couple months, I've been going on the major campaign sites, such as Trump's main site, his main pages, political pages on Facebook and LinkedIn. And you go on there, and then I'll find comments of people saying false things about Biden under Trump's page, and then I'll inbox them that copy and paste message of the message that I created with the pros and cons list that I was talking about at first. And I'd start, and I had critiqued it multiple times before I had came up with a final copy, because I realized that's the biggest turn off on a person, and get them to understand your side and believe in it, is negativity and being nasty with them. You always want to be nice and give respect to the whole thing. So I started off the message explaining to how I supported Trump in the beginning of 16, and how I loved the guy at first, and how I was going to vote for him, and how I hated Hillary. I explained the whole thing with that, just in a shorter version, explaining that I liked him, I supported him because he was a politician. He wasn't a politician and he was a businessman. Then I found out, I heard things even out of his own mouth that were bad, womanizing and stuff like that, and other things, and I came up with the basic solution, the basic resolution, or the basic conclusion of Trump's life, actually, is he grew up under a family that was wealthy since he was a kid. His grandparents actually made most of the wealth. His grandparents came over here from, God, what is the country? Germany. They came over here from them, there, and they actually came over here, and then I believe one of their kids died. Donald Trump's uncle, one of his uncles died, and they went back to Germany. And then I think the war happened over there, or that's when Holocaust happened, and they came over here and actually became traitors against their own country because of that, and which is actually the right thing to do. I mean, so it wasn't a bad thing but if you're them, it is. I mean, okay. And so they came over here, and then they bought a little grocery store, mom and pop shop on the corner. His grandparents did, and they worked at it, saved up their money, had kids. They bought it, and then they rented the top of it, and they realized how much money they could make renting it, and then they bought more places like that. That's how they started. They bought another building with units in it, and they rented them, and then they kept going like that, and then his grandpa got into politics, and that's when our country started beginning to have lobbyists, because our campaigns started becoming influenced off of money. People with companies started supporting presidents, and then presidents would do what they wanted and stuff like that. And his grandpa was a big one in that. He paid like zero taxes, hardly ever, I guess. He paid very low taxes throughout his whole life on fucking a lot of money. And Trump's, a lot of money he got is from every time they made money on a deal. His grandpa put in money in a trust. It was like a quarter of it or half of it into a trust to his dad. And his dad ended up getting it, but his dad ended up passing away, and then his mom had it. And his mom ended up passing away, and that's how Trump got his money. But at first, when he started out, when he was younger, or after high school, he didn't go to the war. He had heel spurs, and he worked for his dad, and then he passed away, and that's how he got into the business, because he started working for his dad instead of going to the war. And he had heel spurs even after he was cleared by the doctors before the draft to go to war. Same with Biden, though. That's the thing that Biden had, too. He had the same thing. Same thing. He was cleared for the war, and he could have went and did it. Because he has one. And so, that's pretty crazy, you know? We got these are the guys we got to choose from. Fucking guys that didn't go to war while we had people dying to protect our country. This shit's crazy. Like, it's not that I love Biden, it's just that I'm choosing the two less evils. And yeah, that's just how it is. Like, it's our system. Nothing will get fixed until our system gets fixed. Because the reason how they get in there is we're going to get in there. That's what I don't get what's legal. They have limits on certain campaign accounts, but then they have the super PACs that are unlimited, and then they can even go around the limited campaign accounts because they can just pay people $20 to put in money for them. whatever, how much money, which they do it. They can have each person in their family member put in money for them. And that's why they have, and so that's why the taxes don't get cut the way they should, and the the investment, and the state tax don't get taxed the way it is, because most of the wealthy people that support them, where they get over 70% of their campaign money comes from multimillionaires and multi-billionaires that have the majority of asset, estate, and investment tax. So how is that? That's fucking ironic, huh? Wonder that. How the investment and the estate and asset tax don't get taxed at the same rate, and all the majority of the people that have it are the people that support most of their campaigns. That's pretty crazy, huh? And then on top of it, what's even crazier is most of the multi-millionaires and the multi-billionaires support the Democrats. Every single election, the majority of multi-billionaires and multi-millionaires support the Democrats, because they know if it's going to happen, it's going to be the Dems that do it to them. And so they fucking make a deal. Here, give us this, do this, and we'll give you money. So don't do all this. It's not said like that. It's said very, fucking strategized. But, they people that fucking do it for a living to create fucking less taxes. But yeah, Biden this year, same again. Biden had the majority of multi-billionaires and multi-millionaires supporting him. It's ridiculous. And so yeah, it's fucking crazy. We gotta vote, man. I forgot to tell you. We gotta make a day to vote. We don't forget. You gotta go to Walmart today or no?
I can't. I'm fucking tired though. If you want to make it quick, we can go.
Yeah, we ain't gotta go. Yeah. It's almost Halloween. I was watching the scary movies. It's like a thing combined. It's called Horror Flicks or something like that on Prime. I was watching them last night. It was like just scary enough to where I could watch them by myself, to where I didn't want to watch them. Right. I hate watching scary movies and shit by myself.
Especially being in fucking new neighborhood where you don't know anybody and shit.
Yeah, by myself. I always hate it no matter what.
Well, because shit, fucking crazy shit really happens,
Yeah, I was telling them that right before on the video here. I fucking hate watching that shit. They were pretty decent. They weren't bad. There were a bunch of shorter stories. There was a bunch of them together in one, and they weren't as bad. They were just good enough to where they were still good. They were critically acclaimed. They were pretty good. It was like 4 stars. It was decent. Alright guys, have a good day.